So once you've done some inspiration and done some sketches, you can start putting it into your artwork and your artboard in Illustrator. And today, this is what it looks like when you finalize it. So I want to help you recreate this. You can see if I zoom in, you get all these texture, nice details, which is pretty sweet. So first up, just create a new document, go to File, New, and you get all these options. I'm using CC 2017, so this is a cool board that comes up. So think about what size you want your poster to be. I'm just using an A4 size, and you can see here's the sizing here, and just name it Type Poster, and just press OK and create that new artboard. And you can see if it's a bit longer, you can go on the left hand side and click this button here, and you'll get this artboard tool. You can see on the artboard I can actually drag this out to make it longer or shorter or fatter if I want, like that, if you want to make a bigger poster. But I just try and keep it long ways portrait, which is, you know, vertical, so we can print it off and stick it on our wall if you want. So we've got that poster. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this artboard, and then we're just going to recreate this. So first up, you want to go to your layers panel. So go to window, and then we're going to go down to layers, and you can see I've got a layer here. And what I usually do is I start naming our layers. So we're going to put our background. I'm just going to move this bit over here. And we're going to start by dragging out a square. So press M for the marquee tool. On the left hand side, you can see it's there. And I'm just going to drag it out like this. And we're going to just start off with the yellow color. And we can go to color guide, or you can go to color and CMYK, and you can just play around with these sliders to get, you know, a subtle yellowish color. Just like that. That's pretty cool. So I like that. We've got that color. It's good to use off-whites because white is a bit harsh, so you want to, you know, try and get like a nice smooth cream color for the background. So we've got that as our background, and I'm just going to make a new layer, and then we can just call it type like this. And to create this nice effects, what we usually do is I get different fonts. So you can see I've got 3 different fonts here. One's a Nick Hanley, which is a script font. Another one is Bernier, and actually it's 2 fonts. So I've just used 2 fonts, and you can see you can get cool effects by changing the size and color, which is pretty sweet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock our background layer. Click this button here and you get the lock, and we're going to use this type layer. And now we're going to start typing out your quote or whatever you're using. So press T for the type tool, or if you go on the left hand side, you can see your type tool. If you right click, you'll see you get these other options as well. So I'm just going to press T and click, and now I'm going to start typing out my words. So I'm going to type out good design, and then press V for the select tool, or it's in the top left hand corner there. And if you hold shift and option, or shift and alt, you can drag that out and it makes it bigger. I'm going to bring that in, and then I'm just going to go search for the font that I was using. These fonts are all free, so you can go download it on DaFont or Font Squirrel, which will be pretty easy to find, and you can just download that. So I've brought this in. I'm just going to drag into the middle. You can also use these align tools up here. When you select the type, you see you got align tool at the top right corner. You just go there and select the align center. So now it's aligned to the center, and we can just drag that out a bit more. And if you hold Alt or Option, you press left or right, you can actually adjust the kerning. But for this font, it's pretty well done, so you can just leave it on the standard. So we've got our first text right there. And what we can do now is start building our next parts of the phrase or the quote. So you want to have the lesser words like is, what, to, the, for, like those short words. They're not the main focus of the type. You want to get the main words to be bigger, and those ones smaller. So as you can see here, I've put the is here because good design is obvious, great design is transparent, and you can see I've made that smaller with a circle. So to create this circle, press L, and we're just going to go like this. Hold shift and alt to drag that out, and then we can play with our colors. Once again, if you go to color guide, you can actually get some cool options, and you can see you got monochromatic and analogous, and you can just pick one of these to play with, and you can see all these colors that you got. So even that's looking pretty cool. And then maybe you want to adjust these to get the color we want, like that. I'm just going to drag this out. Now I'm going to press T for the type tool again. And type is. Maybe you want it capitals if you want, or you can just keep it normally. And once again, we'll bring this up. That's cool. And then if you want to make things in the center, you can press Shift and you select both items. Then you click the circle, and then you can click up the top horizontal align center and vertical center. And you can see it's actually aligned it, which is pretty cool. Or you can just go and do it by your eye and adjust it like that. So we can leave it like that. So we've got our main portions of our typography. I try and stick with black and white first, and then I'll add the colors for the type later, which is pretty cool. So we've got our first sections up. Now we're going to add our second word or third word. Good design is obvious, so press T again, and I'm going to go to the font Bernier. This font is really cool. Just going to drag it up. And I'm going to type obvious. And we want to make it really big because this is our main type and the word obvious, you know, so we're playing off that word. So you can make it really big. And we can just make it go over there. And you can just play around with the layers. Maybe you want the circle to go over the type to make it more playful, or below it. So I like to have the type, you know, being a bit playful. So I've got obvious here. And with this type, you can actually change the style. So if you press the top menu, you can see Bernier has 3 different options. You can see if the type is changing. You got shade, regular, distressed. Distressed is a really cool look. Regular is like that. And you can see how the type is changing with shade, which I've used. So I've got shade here. And you might have to adjust the kerning a little bit by holding Alt or Option and pressing left and right. And you can see you've got that. And then I'm just going to click the align button at the top right. Just like that. So we've got good design is obvious. And we'll type out the other words first, and then we'll get back to this. So we've got good design is obvious. And now we can see, I'm going to start building the rest of it out. So we've got great design is transparent. So what we can do is just select these two this type at the top and the is and the circle. Select all that just by clicking and dragging. And you can hold Alt or Option. And we just want to drag that in. Try not to select the obvious type. You can lock objects by pressing Control or Command 2. So I've just locked this. Now we can select this and hold Alt and Shift, or Option and Shift, and we can drag that down because we're using the same things, same typography. So we can do that. And then we can just change these words. Then bring that up, pressing up. And we're going to type in the last word, which is transparent. So I'm going to click again. We're going to use Bernier, but we're just going to use the normal regular. So this is a free font as well, so you can download that. And you can see to make get this cool look, what we can do is actually change these to caps lock. So to get these, you know, nice little embellishment, just select the type. We can go to type up the top left hand corner, click that, go to change case, and you can see you can actually change the lowercase or uppercase really easily by one click. Just press uppercase. So now these are all capitals, and it's a full caps type font, so that's why it's all caps. But now you can see you get this cool little embellishments in the type, which is pretty sweet. And we're just going to change that to transparent, just like that. I'm going to make it smaller so it can fit. Bring that to the center. We can make it a bit bigger. And maybe adjust the kerning 1 point. And now we've got our type. And maybe you want to bring this under the circle like that to get a cool effect. So we've got our poster. Good design is obvious. Great design is transparent. So now I'm going to start playing with the colors for the type, and we'll add some, you know, other details after. So you can choose different color palettes if you want. I like playing, you know, with some complementary colors. You can see I'm using blues here, you know, reds, which is pretty sweet. And blue and red is really a complementary color. It's warm and a cool color, which is pretty sweet. So I'm just going to play around. I'm going to select this color here and try and find a nice color. So you can see down here, you can see we're getting some reds or opposite of it, high contrast. Maybe we can use this red here. And then we just want to add that. And then I'm going to click make a new color group. So you click this color group button here on the right. And I'm going to delete some of these colors. I'm just going to go select all. If you click on this drop down menu up here, you go select all, unused, and then click delete the bin. And it's going to delete all those. So what I can do now is if I go back to the menu, I can go add used colors. So all the colors I'm using in my artwork, everything here and here, you can see it's adding it. So I'm just going to, we've got this group here, so I'm going to drag this one out. And then now you can see we can start dragging these new color that we just made, and we can bring that down here.